Hi all, this is May and today I'm showing you all how to do roofs in The Sims 4. I'll be teaching you some tips and tricks such as what hotkeys to use to customize your roofs. I'll show you how to roof a couple different builds and then I'll show you a few ideas that you might not have thought of or you don't know how to do in The Sims 4. This is a beginner friendly guide and I'll explain you through it. I'm also going to include some chapters so you can easily go back and forth to different parts. A little disclaimer before we get started though, I am playing on a Windows computer, meaning the hotkeys will be different on a Mac or on console, such as PlayStation and Xbox, and if any of you would like to share the hotkeys for those, then please feel free to do so in the comments. So with that out of the way, let's get started on the first roof. The first roof I'll be showing you how to do is what I'd like to call the typical Brindleton Bay Roof. Here I have a build I did a while ago as an example, and to get this kind of look like this part on the top here that is more slanted than the ones on the side, we need an extra floor. I have taken away all of the roofs that were previously here that you just saw because now we're going to be putting it all together on our own. And like I said, you need an extra floor, and you can see that I have already put in all of the rooms, so we are basically good to get started. Depending on what kind of look and vibe you're going for, you can either use the gabled roof or you can use the hipped roof on top. I'm going to choose the gabled roof first, so I'll drag it over here, and first things first, if you're going to rotate a roof piece, you can either use the period key or the comma key on your keyboard. So I'm going to place it, and you can use these arrows to drag out and make the roof piece bigger. I'll drag it all the way over to this side because that's where the roof ends. We're also going to have roof pieces on this piece or area here as well, and for that I'm going to do the half gabled roof. So once again, I'm going to place it over here, make it smaller, and drag it out. And here we have encountered the first problem. So we're gonna want to have this roof piece go all the way up here so it kind of meets the other roof. To do that, I'm gonna drag the roof piece up until here maybe, but then you're gonna see this side here is way too long. It doesn't go seamlessly together at all. So first I'm gonna click the roof piece on top here, and I'm gonna click this icon here and drag it in. And we're gonna wanna do something similar with this piece. So I'm gonna adjust it slightly, and since we're only gonna drag this side in, I'm gonna hold shift on my keyboard and then drag this side in. Usually, like you just saw with this piece, both sides go in if you don't hold shift, but since I'm holding shift and dragging, it's only affecting this one side. And the same trick that I just showed you, you can do on the side here as well. You can either drag them in or out. You can hold shift and it will only affect one side. And that's going to be very handy for other roofs we're going to be doing later on in the video as well. One thing that I could have done is to drag the roof piece all the way over here, but if I put the walls down, you're going to be seeing this piece on the inside, which is kind of annoying if you're going to be doing gameplay in a house like this. So instead, I'm going to drag this side in, and clicking here, you can copy the roof piece. So I will do that and put it over here. I'm currently placing in all of the roof pieces here, and to make the job easier when you have one piece that you need to copy is that you can hold down shift on your keyboard and it automatically copies it for you once you place down one piece. So I have added all of the roof pieces both at the back of the house and front of the house. The next thing I would like to do is lower this roof. I can do it here, and then it kind of snaps to these increments that we have in the game, or you can hold down the Alt key and drag the roof up and down, and this way you're able to customize the height a bit more in detail, like it doesn't snap to certain predetermined points or increments. I believe I'm going to put the roof down to about this height. If you want to curve your roof, you can use the round icon in the middle here. And if you would like to go more in detail with that, you can do Shift C on your keyboard and you can see that 2 more points were added for extra fine tuning of the roof. And you can go wild with this one, honestly. You can make it look a bit more whimsical or cottagey, like whatever you would like to have it. For this one, I'm just going to keep it like this though. So you can either have it like this, or I can change this one out with the hipped roof like I mentioned earlier. I just do the same thing, dragging it out. However, for this one, the smartest is probably to drag the eaves in on the side pieces here. Otherwise, this is going to not look very good with this one, like with the eaves of the top one out. So I would definitely recommend having it like this. I'm going to roof the rest of the pieces here as well. For the one in the middle here, I'm just going to copy the one that we have already. Same for this one over here. I'm going to extend the eaves of this part, and not this one though, because we're going to do something really similar like we did over on this side. But first, I would like to show you a little trick. So if you click on the porch part here and you would like to add a ceiling, you get this yellow outline. If you click on this, it's going to tell you that you can build a ceiling. If you click it, you get like this flat part. You don't necessarily need to do that for what we're going to do here, but I thought it was a neat little trick that I wanted to tell you about. I'm just going to copy the siding that we currently have on the house here to all of the different roof pieces. And another thing that I would like to add is this trim. However, if I copy it and I try to add it here, it's not letting me. The trick that I usually do for this though is go over to the flat square and I just pop it in here. I adjust it slightly. And this way, if I try again, it's going to add the trim. You can probably see that some of the columns and the trim kind of goes through the roof here. I would suggest either using a smaller trim to kind of hide it, and you can also curve the roof piece so that it's not so noticeable. You would probably want to do this before you do all of the roof pieces though, so that you can easily copy this part. For this bay window area, I'm going to use the octagonal roof. This is my go-to for a room like this. I'm just going to drag it down and drag out the eaves. And then I'm going to use the half gable roof over on this piece here. The first final detail I'll be adding to this roof is a roof trim. I usually use the square roof trim just to add that final, like unique look or detail to the roof. The next thing is a roof pattern. You can find it over here, and there's like a lot of different ones that you can add. For this one, I might use this one in just like a black. And here you have the final version of this roof. Let's build upon the techniques I just taught you and let me show you how I have roofed this Gothic Victorian house. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is add a frieze. I'm going to choose this one from Vampires. You can just hover it here and then click it so you see that it gets added. The thing with the frieze is that you can only add it to a medium wall height or a tall one. So if you have it on a short one, it will not work. However, for this build, we're going to use this one, and on this part, you will see that this is a short wall height room. And for that, I'm going to do the trick that I showed you earlier, and I'm going to add a flat room up here and just size it so that it fits. And then I'll go over here again and add an exterior trim. I'm going to choose a dark one so that it fits the color scheme of this house. This is something you can do either before you place down the roof, or you can do it after. It doesn't really matter when you place it, but I'm going to do a fence and just place it all around here. I'm going to keep this part empty because we are going to have roof pieces around here. By the way, I have turned off my grid using the G key if you're wondering about that. That's also very handy if you don't want to have this grid in your face all the time. For the top part here, I'm going to choose this fence, which is really small. And now we're ready to actually place the roof. So I usually do the half-hipped roof when I need it to go all the way around here. So we're going to rotate it, of course, and size it up a bit, and I'll drag it all the way up so it kind of covers the wall that we got going on here. I'm going to drag the roof piece into the wall here, and then we're going to copy it to this side and kind of just do the same thing all around here. And once I've placed it, I'm going to do the exact same thing up here, but of course adjust it. We do have a bump out on the side here, and I think the half-hipped roof is going to work quite nicely here as well. So we're just going to copy it, place it down, and size it so that it's lined up with the rest of the roof here. One last detail on the front here with the roof is a gabled roof. So I'm just going to place this here, drag it up a bit so that it's lined up, and we're going to drag in the eaves on all the sides. So we still got a couple of details left for this roof here, and one thing you can add is a window actually. So I'm going to choose this round one from base game and just plonk it in here. It's just like a nice extra detail. Another thing I'm going to add is a dormer actually, and you can find those over in roof sculptures. To go with the theme of the whole house, I'm going to choose the one from vampires, and let's go with a black version. So it's very easy to just place this on the roof piece here. You can hold down shift to copy the item so you don't have to click and place it every single time. I'm also going to use the period key to rotate the dormer. One last detail I'll add is one of these holes from Life and Death, and then you'll be able to see how the whole roof situation has turned out here. I'll just add one more over here, and we're pretty much done with this house here. I want to show you another idea that you can do with this sort of roof. So I'm going to take this whole part away and adjust the roofs on the side here so that none of them are like sticking out. Then I'm going over to roof, and I'm going to get the half gabled roof. So I'm going to make sure that this is the same height as the other roofs, like this. And I'm going to make it slightly smaller, and also I'm going to copy this over here. And then I'm going to pull the eaves in on both sides. And of course I need to make sure that it has the same trims and the same roof textures as the surrounding roof pieces. And now it looks like a very small balcony, and I'm going to put a fence in the front here. It's not going to be perfect, unfortunately, but I can also do a door up here. I'm just going to choose a very random door here. If you don't want to use the fence, you can also always switch it out with a half wall. Or you can also use the roof piece as sort of like a fence. It's not going to look the best like this, unfortunately, because this one is quite tall up here. But if you have the wall like further back, I think it could be better. But yeah, just like a fun little idea that you can mess around with, and you can try to make it work with other architecture styles as well. Next up we have this unfinished shell, and I'm going to show you how to make an A-frame. I'll also mess around with the shell a tiny bit just to show you other ways to roof it as well. I'm going to start with the half gabled roof and just place it at the end here. It's gonna take a tiny bit of tweaking and adjustments to get this right. I'll copy this to the second floor as well. And I'm going to drag the eave in at the top here. So holding shift and dragging it down is only going to affect one side, even though it doesn't really matter here, to be honest. And then we're going to copy both of these to the other side here. And at the top, we're going to do the gabled roof. Here we can also drag in the eaves. We are going to adjust it so that the roof it goes seamlessly here. There's no odd bumps or anything really. And then I'm just going to adjust it so it goes all the way over here. And that's basically it. It's like very, very simple. But it's a roof that you might not think about. I'm going to make a few changes to the roof here though, just to give you an idea of what you can actually do. I'm going to make this part smaller. I'm going to drag the eaves in at the bottom roof here. I'm going to copy this over here, drag the eaves in on only one side, so the inner side of both of them. And like this, you can actually make a balcony out here. We're going to test first adding a half wall. You can find that if you go over to walls and empty rooms and then go to half walls over here. Let's just test and add it. You still have like a gap here, so if we do this, here you can see an issue. There's like this weird room thing that happens here. I think one thing you can try to do is make this smaller, copy it, place it exactly at the same spot, and then hold shift and drag the eaves. You're going to still have like this kind of weird gap here, but this way you are actually going to see the half wall, or if you decide to do a fence, that also works actually. However, if I go back to how it was, I'm going to show you how to make a skylight. So first of all, I'm going to once again copy this roof here and just place it all out. I'm going to drag both the sides of the eaves in. Let's go over to roof patterns and find a glass roof. So you can see that you have a few different versions here, but I think I'm going for the solid glass roof. If you do that, you're going to see that the flooring disappears. The fix for that is to go over to the walls and get the flat square again. You just pop it in here and you have to do the roof part again. So this is probably smartest to do before you put a roof here at all, just to save you a bit of time perhaps. And then you kind of have this skylight, which is pretty cool. I've added the roof pattern and the roof trims and also a wallpaper here. You can actually place things inside of this area and make it work, but it is a bit finicky. So I'll show you how, like for example, what you can do. So I'm just going to add a random door in here and I'm going to place perhaps a chair or something. I'm going to choose this like random chair here. So I'm not sure if you can actually just place it like that and it's going to work. Let's test it out. Okay, so it does work. So if you place it this way, it's going to work. If you place it like facing the other way here, like towards the glass here, it might not work. So just be aware that you might have to tweak it a bit to actually make it functional. If you want to, you can also add like another roof detail on top of this. Just copying this part and I'm going to drag one side of the eaves out. Like this. Make sure that it's even on both sides. And we're actually going to try and put like a column or something. Probably doesn't look its best like this. It might be better if you take away the glass roof here and put in the fence that I showed you earlier. But this is just like a quite simple idea of how to have some kind of roof on top of this part as well if you would like to. I'm going to show you another way of roofing this build. I might tweak the walls a tiny bit, but let's see. I'm going to add like a part here. And it's going to be kind of the same below here. Next up, I'm going to delete the roof parts on this side, and I'm going to just push this one out and delete the top roof. I think I actually have to delete these ones as well and just like kind of adjust this part here. Then again, the half gabled roofs are going in here. I'm going to do two separate ones on both sides so that they don't go through the middle part here. And on top of here, we're actually going to do the same roof. Just going to push it down here, and we are going to try to make this align with the bottom floors here. I'll be adding another one of these over on this side. Just going to make sure that it goes all the way and covers the gap at the top here that you can see. I'm going to hold Alt to make sure that it actually goes all the way and we cover this. Great. So that's another way that you can do roofing. However, if you have done it like this and this part goes all the way from the bottom here and like 2 floors up, you are going to have a problem on the inside. Also, another trick, by the way, I am on my wall tool here, and if I hold Control, it's actually going to delete instead of add the wall for you. And now you're going to see that the light on this floor versus this floor are different. And that's because for some reason the game thinks that this is outdoors, and the problem lies in the roof pieces here actually. I'm going to drag these like away from the house here, but I'm going to copy it in and then drag one side of the eave in like this. And I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. And like this, it fixes the problem. You're just gonna have this weird gap again in here, but it's not gonna really matter that much, I feel like. You're going to see the roof part here while you're playing, but I still think that it is kind of like a different way of roofing a house like this. You can even make it smaller. It's probably gonna look a bit better if you do that, to be honest. Maybe something like this. So this could actually be, I don't know, like a modern cottage or something. Next up on my list is this tiny modern Scandinavian home. So first things first, let me just add the normal roof here, and then we're going to adjust it to how we want it to be. And then I'm going to add a wall, just one tile on both sides. And then we are going to drag out the eave here so that it kind of leans onto the wall here. And I have done exactly the same at the back here, so you don't have to hold shift while doing it either. I mean, it kind of depends on what you would like. If you don't want the back to be symmetrical or like the same as the front, then you can hold shift and then, you know, do the whole thing. Another thing I would like to add is a skylight. It is a bit different than the build that I showed you earlier, but it's actually not that difficult. So I'm going to copy these roof pieces and kind of leave an opening over here. I'm going to drag the eaves in holding shift. And then I'm going to leave this part empty so far, but I'm going to grab the half gabled roof, place it over here, and make it line up with the rest of the roofing here so that it looks like this. And then I'm actually going to copy it and place it over here. I'm going to size this one down so it's only one tile wide, and that leaves this gap here. Again, I'm copying this one. I'm going to make sure that the eaves are all dragged in, and then I'm going to drag this one up like this. I'm gonna go over to roof patterns and grab whatever glass roofing I would like to use. I'm going to use this one here and place it on the last roof I placed. You can see that we have a problem here with this part disappearing, but it's an easy fix if you just move it slightly like this and then move it back again. But still, this part here is not entirely correct. And that's when the Alt key is gonna be really helpful. So I'm gonna hold Alt and then drag this part just slightly down so that this, like the glass roof part, disappears on the bottom here. And there you go. Then you have like a nice skylight here in this house. I'll add a few details from roof sculptures here. And if you have eco lifestyle, you can actually place solar panels on the roof. So I'll just place 2 of them over here. And if you have Strangerville, you can actually add this satellite dish. So I'll also place that here. I'm using the comma and period keys to rotate this one as well. And there you go. Another idea I would love to show you is how to make something like this, like where the ceiling part of a basement is deleted. So if it originally looks like this and you have your basement downstairs, you can actually click the room, go upstairs, and you'll see the yellow outline that I talked about earlier. If you click this one, you can remove the ceiling, and that's how you get an open basement like this. And this is an idea that you can use for a few different builds, and especially something in Brightchester maybe, where you have a downstairs apartment with like stairs going down, or like how it was here with the ladder. I think is also really clever. This is a build that came with the high school years pack, and I think it's so clever, and I just wanted to show you how to do that as well. I'm just going to use this build for another example. It's more like a trick rather than an idea on how to roof your house, but I'm just going to place a roof piece here and make sure that it's going all the way inside here. So you're going to see 2 problems. First of all, this part is going through, and also the eaves are going through here, which is not ideal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this smaller, take it all the way in here, drag the eaves in, and then I'm going to copy this part, place it here, and then drag the eaves in here. And that's how you solve that problem. It's a rather easy fix, but if you don't know how to do it or go about it, then it can be difficult to figure out. What I'm going to show you next is a bit more advanced, and you would need the tool mod and better build by mod by Twisted Mexi, but I wanted to include this idea regardless at the end of the video. I will leave a link in the description if you're curious about the mods and you want to try this out. And this is an idea that I got from my friend Malin Designs. She is an amazing builder, and I would definitely recommend to check her out for more builds and building ideas as well. I'm going to add the half-gabled roof. I'm going to make it a tiny bit smaller, drag those eaves in, and then make it a bit shorter as well. Next up, I'm going to choose a glass roof. I'm going to just do the normal one here. The next step is to add windows around the roof part here. I'm just going to use some base game ones, and I'll make sure that there are 2 on each side. Once you have the mods installed, you can open Tool Mod by clicking Shift T on your keyboard. You can also do Shift T again to make it go away, but it's going to give you this window. I'm going to select all the windows here, and a little smart trick in doing this is to click one and then hold Alt, and this way you can select multiple objects at once, because usually it just does one and one item. So I'm gonna make sure that all of them are selected. This is going to take less time if you do it like this. I'm gonna go over to scale, and I'm gonna put in a very small number. I'm gonna do 0.001, and that way the windows are gonna be so small that you can't even see them. They are still selected though, so make sure to go over to options and toggle group. Now we can add a roof trim. Another smart thing though is actually to place something here so it's kind of supported by something. And I think I'm gonna go through the live edit catalog to find something that reminds me of a column. Usually you can access the live edit catalog through cheats, but when you already have the Better Build by mod installed and you have enabled organized debug, over here at the bottom of the filter system, you actually get two new categories called debug and live edit, and it makes it so much easier to find these hidden objects in the game. So I'm going to click live edit, and then I'm going to make sure that under content, live edit is also enabled. I'm going to filter by base game and try to find something that reminds me of a column. Okay, so I have found this one. I'm going to make it white, and then I'm just going to place it below here. And I'm going to adjust it using Alt so that it actually looks like it is supported by this column here. And there you go. So if you do have the Better Build By and Tool Mod by Twisted Mexi, then you will be able to do this as well. Sometimes I get the question, where do you get your inspiration from when building? And every single time, without a doubt, I answer Pinterest. Pinterest is a haven for a builder in The Sims. You can find an unlimited amount of various houses, styles, floor plans, whether they're real-life houses or they're blueprints. There's just so much to find. I have a board dedicated to builds I find inspiring and that I want to use as inspiration or as reference for when building. And in this board again, I have multiple subboards for each of the worlds in the game, which makes it easier for me to find back to certain builds and styles because I know these builds will fit in that specific world. And why is this relevant for a roofing tutorial, you may ask? Because you will also find a lot of different roofs on these houses. So use those pictures as a reference and practice your roofing skills, and after this video I hope I've been able to teach you how to make roofing easier in The Sims 4. If there are any other videos or tutorials you would like to see from me, then please let me know in the comments. If you want to see the short version of all the hotkeys I've showed you today, I will link a video in the description for you as well, so make sure to save that so that it's easy for you to come back to next time you roof, or you can always come back to this roof tutorial as well. So that's basically it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content in the future. If you want to be notified of when I upload a video next, make sure to click the bell icon too. You can also catch me streaming over on twitch.tv/honeymaysims, and you can also find all of my socials in the description. So thank you all so much for hanging out with me today, and I can't wait to talk to you all in the next video. Until then, take care, bye!